What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I finished the first season of Lost. So let's talk about it. If you look back on the relatively recent history of television, it seems like there was groundbreaking show after groundbreaking show after groundbreaking show. Seriously, think about it. Dawson's Creek redefined television and ended in 2003. Lost debuted in 2004 and once again redefined television and ended in 2010, which is the same year that The Walking Dead debuted and once again redefined television, and Breaking Bad was in there too. I mean, we have had a lot of great television shows as of late. They all came one after the other, and while Dawson's Creek, Breaking Bad, Walking Dead obviously will all be shows that are discussed on this channel in the future, today we're going to be talking about a show that I got to experience completely fresh. I had nothing spoiled beforehand. I had no idea about the truth behind some of the major plot points. I knew absolutely nothing except the main plot of this show, which is about a group of 40 to 50 people who survive a plane crash on a remote island in the middle of the ocean and must survive the many unexpected dangers on the island. You get little peeks into some of the people's past, and you get to see how these people's past lives are affecting their current situation on the island, which may hold more secrets than the survivors may have previously expected. So what did I think of the first season of Lost? Well, let me put it this way. If you had told me beforehand that a show from the early 2000s about a bunch of people trying to survive on an island would be one of the most tense, enthralling, emotionally impactful shows that I would ever see, I wouldn't have believed you. Today, after finishing the first season, it's pretty much that times 10. I adored the first season of Lost. It is one of the most well-written shows that I have ever seen. The amount of tension that they were able to build with not only the threats on the island, but also the stuff built off of these characters' past lives and how it's affecting them on the island is unprecedented. One problem that I often have with television shows is that with almost every single one, almost all of the episodes, if not all the episodes, are directed by a different person, and so many shows are unable to maintain a consistent tone. With Lost, however, that is not the case. You can really tell with this show that all of the different directors who worked on their episodes really deeply understood the vision that the original creators were going for. Which, by the way, J.J. Abrams is the main creator of this show, and that really explains how good and investing the mystery is. Just a little fun fact there. A constant feeling of dread and ambiguity is held throughout this entire season. There is rarely a release. You know how in a lot of movies or shows how it'll build up some really good tension and there's a release? Like that scene in Jurassic Park when they have to climb down the tree really fast to get away from the car that's gonna fall on them, and they get to the ground and the car falls on them, but it's okay because the glass on top was broken, and there's like a really, like just a moment of relief. It's like, that was really stressful. There is nothing like that in this show. Like, the tension just keeps building and building and building and building, and it never lets you off the hook. Great scene, by the way, in Jurassic Park. I really like that scene. As I said, with Lost, the tension doesn't do that. It never releases. I'm not saying it'd be bad if it did. In fact, I would like it if it did, but it's not an issue that it doesn't because it keeps you invested the entire time. Now, yes, there are quiet moments where characters share, like little character dramatic moments. There are even joyful moments in the show, moments of like really bright happiness, but the main threat is never any less prominent. Now let's talk about those characters. They're fantastic. They are so well written. I cared for every single person in this show, even the people that maybe weren't necessarily the best of people before the crash. In fact, my favorite character, one of my favorite characters, and one of the characters that I cared the most deeply for, wasn't really a good person before the plane crash, but it's the way the show develops the empathy and like how the characters are written and these little exchanges that people have that really make you care about the person, even if they weren't necessarily the best person beforehand. The show is also extremely well made for a television show. Every episode feels like a cinematic experience, from the cinematography to the fact that they actually filmed on a real island. Like, the entire show, they actually filmed on a real island. and the scenery with that location is beautiful enough. They rarely have to use green screen. That being said, there is some CGI used in certain scenes that really wasn't always convincing for me, but you also have to understand that this is an early 2000s show produced by ABC. When you look at it from that perspective, I can almost let it pass. And I think that ABC actually recognized that because the CGI used isn't on screen for very long. In fact, in a lot of the scenes where it is used, it's used sparingly. There is a lot of like practical like puppetry and props that are used, and that made it work a little bit more, made it a little bit more convincing. The show does ask you to take some leaps of faith in regards to suspension of disbelief, but if you just hold out and let the show do its thing, you will find out that a lot of the things that are happening are actually chillingly realistic. Speaking of chilling stuff, the score for this show is absolutely bone-chilling, and if you don't know, Michael Giacchino is the composer for the score for this show, and if you don't know who he is, well, he's done a lot of great projects. He's probably like the best newer composer, but he's also the main composer for Marvel now. He reinvented the Spider-Man theme with Spider-Man Homecoming. The score for this show doesn't feel like any cheap thrown together score for any average show. It really feels like something that would be like playing in a Christopher Nolan movie or something. Not to say that the style of music in the show is like the style of the scores in Nolan's films, but in regards to spectacle and grandness and power, it is up there on the same level. The show quite impressively balances its more terrifying and adrenaline-inducing scenes than some of its more quiet, hard-hitting drama moments, which ties into the tone consistency that I talked about before. There is a danger there, though, going from an extremely terrifying, adrenaline-pumping scene to a very quiet and hard-hitting drama moment. That could feel a little too abrupt and a little too jarring, but it doesn't, and that credit really has to go to the actors, the writers, and pretty much everyone. They did a great job. They did a great job not making it feel abrupt. It really flowed for me. Lost is easily one of my new favorite shows, and depending on how the rest of the series plays out, it might become one of my favorites, but let's not jump the gun here. I've only seen the first season, and it was a great season, so great that I'm going to give the first season of Lost an A+. It was really great to be able to experience a show fresh and not have had anything spoiled beforehand, because there's so many shows where I, before even seeing it, get like the biggest of things spoiled, which is unfortunate. Thanks so much for watching, guys. It really does mean a lot. Look forward to my review of Season 2 of Lost, which I need to start watching, and also some other things that I'm going to be bringing to you. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, keep writing, keep shooting, and keep editing.